Before I start this rant, I'd like you to keep in mind I used to be a huge fan of Family Guy. In fact, it used to be my favorite show. But this isn't just going to be some stupid documentary like rant, just my opinion on how the show started to get stale. Which was mostly because of the overall episode formula the show sticks to these days. Family Guy used to have some of the best episodes with its funny satire of the basic American family. What made the episodes of Family Guy so good was not just the flashbacks, that's just a half of it. I mean, I know that's what Family Guy's main theme was, but it's not just the jokes that makes a good show, it's the stories in general. Like when Stewie didn't want Peter and Lois to have another baby, then a cool plot twist takes place when he meets another baby named Bertram in Peter's sperm. So he decides he wants a little brother after all, and then when you think it's just going to end in them not having sex and everything going back to normal, well, it does, but it ends at a cliffhanger where you see Bertram in Peter's eye, and he comes back later, and it was really cool to see Bertram return. Sure, it's got those flashback jokes that have nothing to do with the plot at all in there, but then again, it still has a lot of jokes that did have to do with the plot, and it kept the story consistent, but that's a great example of a Family Guy episode done so well. Now, here's my first problem with the new Family Guy episode formulas. They are so inconsistent. For example, there's an episode called New Kidney in Town, where Peter has his first sip of Red Bull, and he does all kinds of crazy shit Peter usually does, which is funny, and what made Peter a great character in the first place. So, Lois is concerned and throws away Peter's Red Bull, since she's concerned being the more level-headed character of the show. Then Peter tries to make a new Red Bull drink by adding in kerosene, which is sick but still pretty funny, and then Peter passes out. Okay? Well, this still can be funny. I mean, it was funny when Peter had a stroke in that other episode, so let's keep going. Well, it turns out Peter has kidney failure and needs a transplant. Alright, how are these two things even related? We went from a Red Bull episode to a kidney failure episode. I mean, those are kind of related, but the first story's so interesting. It could have been so good and funny and had so many possibilities that were hilarious. So we're gonna move that great idea to an episode about Peter having a kidney failure. I mean, I guess this could still be funny. Let's keep going. Okay, so now Brian's telling Peter he'll sacrifice his life and give him one of his kidneys to save Peter's life. That's not funny, though. What I just said sounds like something that you would probably hear in a Saw movie. That's how sick it is. It's not a funny subject. I mean, even depressing subjects can be funny, but this episode just doesn't do it right. I mean, now everybody else is sad about Brian in a plot twist where now he has to give up his kidney, so that's it. Everybody's just gushing about Brian losing his kidney. I mean, I have to admit the whole bit with Stewie and him crying was kind of funny, but that's really it. That's the most you're going to get out of a new Family Guy episode. Just one little laugh, just because of how bad the subject matter is. It's just not funny, and they don't make it funny. Maybe they'll throw a couple of jokes, but that's not what it's about. Alright, the way to get a sad subject matter and make it funny isn't to tell random jokes that have nothing to do with the subject matter at all. It's to actually make it more lighthearted and funny and actually tell jokes that have to do with it and make it funnier, like South Park does. Family Guy does not do this. There's an episode where Peter literally says to Lois, he's like, look, can you throw in some jokes there, Lois? Like, taking something really, really depressing and fucked up and putting in a little joke that has nothing to do with it doesn't make it good. The thing about the old random Family Guy jokes that had nothing to do with the plot at all, they were funny because the actual plot that was going on was funny too. This doesn't work. And to finish this whole story off, they use a half-assed joke where Dr. Hartman discovers Brian can't transfer his kidneys because he's a dog, so Hartman does it instead. I guess that's kind of funny, but you would go through all that depressing shit just for a half-assed joke at the end to sum up the story so quick? Oh, and did I mention there's a subplot where Chris has to write an essay, so Meg gives him some advice about it, and his topic is hope, so she gives him this whole speech about what hope is, and Chris just copies it off and then becomes famous off it somehow. I'll admit some parts are pretty funny, but it's boring. The plots are boring. I really don't give a shit. Some of the plots in Family Guy earlier were funny, and you were interested and you wanted to know what was happening. Like that brilliant two-parter when Brian went to Hollywood, if anybody saw that episode. That's a great episode and you should check it out. I actually wanted to know what was happening. This is just boring. I don't care. And you obviously know Peter's going to come out of it okay, so it's not worth it. It's okay to have a subplot, but then you could go from having one plot to going to a totally another thing that has nothing to do with it at all. Like the episode Family Gay. It starts with Peter getting a retarded horse, which is funny. Then it ends up with Peter being gay somehow when he gets injected with some gay gene. I mean, I admit both of those are funny, but like, they have nothing to do with each other. And that may be not a big deal to some people, but it really does keep the story inconsistent. And sometimes they will go from really funny subject matter to something that's really just depressing, and that really ruins it for me. When I really want to see something getting into something, then it moves into something totally different out of nowhere. And the thing they move to really isn't that funny.